All right, who else had a Woj bomb on their bingo card this Thursday afternoon? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to basketball. I was literally just sitting on the couch about to ice my foot, and the Chicago Bulls made a trade. That's breaking news in itself. You didn't even need to tell us who it was, but the Chicago Bulls made a trade. This is kind of crazy. So these are some guys that we've been talking about in trade rumors for a little bit. For those of you guys that can't read the screen right now, Josh Giddey just got swapped for Alex Caruso. It doesn't sound like there's anything else involved with the trade right now. I was going to make another video today talking about JJ Redick or maybe doing some more draft type stuff, but this is more interesting. I'm totally okay with talking about this today. I'm a Bulls fan in full transparency. Let's put out any bias in that. I like to think that I'm not biased with things whatsoever. I try to be very objective with things, especially considering I'm actively working around this stuff. But anyway, it doesn't matter right now. So Alex Caruso traded for Josh Giddey, two of the bigger names in the markets just being straight up swapped for each other. So let's talk about the logic with this first of all. We've been hearing speculations that the Bulls want a first round pick for Alex Caruso. Makes some sense. We all know the value Caruso brings. Good outside shooter, but more importantly, elite defensive player, ultimate culture, hustle guy, right? He's one of those guys that's a difference maker, right? And the Thunder obviously accelerated their process a little bit quicker than they thought last year, and they were like, okay, yeah, we're actually really good. This is very reminiscent of, and they actually touched on it here, it's the same exact thought that I had, where this is very reminiscent of when the Golden State Warriors got kind of good, kind of fast around the time and they brought in Andre Iguodala, similar type of player, right? So this is what they're thinking, right? And they've got Josh Giddey on the team at that point, and Josh Giddey, obviously, he went through all the stuff that he went through this year, found innocent, from everything I've heard about it. Sounds like a really shitty situation that, honestly, he's probably being blamed a little bit unfairly for, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Him as a basketball player, I love. I think Josh Giddey is one of the best minds that we have in the NBA. He's got this reputation of not being a very good defensive player. Before you guys go to the comments and everything, remember how we're doing comments from now on. We're supposed to be nice in the comments. We're supposed to be collaborative. If you have different ideas, share different ideas. Do it in a nice way. Because you guys are going to be like, Josh Giddey's not a good defensive player. If you guys look up defensive ratings and any defensive stat, you guys are going to tell me defensive rating is not a good way to analyze things. Look up how individual defensive rating is actually calculated in basketball. It's not a team statistic. It is a very, very complex individual statistic. But anyway, Josh Giddey very much plays elite team defense. Yeah, is he going to keep somebody in front of him all that great? No, not necessarily, but every other part of his defense is pretty nuts actually. And that's what Josh Giddey's so good at. He's just got some of the best feel in basketball of all times. And so he was basically playing out of position in OKC, right? Because they've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's going to have the ball the whole time. There's nothing in this offense that's going to allow him to set something up, really, because it is a very repetitive offense that they run, which in theory, to me, is because they have a younger team and they're trying to keep it relatively simple. That's just what I would do if I had a younger team as well, so that makes some sense. But yeah, I think this sums it up even really well. The Bulls have been determined to find a playmaker to replace Lonzo Ball. Giddey's going to get the chance to do that, right? Because Kobe White, while in the way as the point guard, I've never seen Kobe White as a point guard. Personally, I see him as more of an off-ball guard. And so I think Giddey's going to get the reins to kind of just do whatever he wants this year, right? He gets to be the primary ball handler. He gets to set people up. He gets a fresh start where he can go in and just do whatever with the basketball, right? And I think that's where he's at his best. He's clearly very, very clever. If you watch any of his offensive highlights, it's not that he's breaking you down by the dribble or anything like that, right? It's because he's outsmarting people, right? Obviously, his big size and everything is really valuable at the point guard position, but it's him making smart cuts or finding interesting ways to get open. I'm not saying he's going to be a 20-point-a-game scorer, but this guy's an extremely talented basketball player. So getting, you don't need a first-round pick if you get Josh Giddey back. This guy's a lottery pick with all-star potential, just as he is right now. He's a connecting piece. Love this from the Bulls' point of view. I think it's a great return. We weren't going to go anywhere with Caruso anyway. I love Alex Caruso, right? The Thunder are getting a guy, right? A guy that doesn't need the basketball, can play off of Shai, is going to be a difference maker late in games and stuff. This guy will win you playoff games by himself. Just having Caruso on the team is extremely valuable, and so I think it makes a lot of sense that these two teams came together to make this happen. So what does this mean now, right? OKC brings in Alex Caruso on the last year of his contract. He's pretty cheap. They can bring him in. They can still make more moves if necessary. What's cool about this for the Bulls, and I hope when I say this, I hope, because the Bulls, we all know, have just been so stubborn about doing anything for so long now. Let's just hope that this means that they're also offloading everybody else. Maybe this means, and when I say this, I love all these players. Like, I think they're really cool. We just know they don't work together, right? Let's hope Levine is getting traded. DeMar's not coming back. Let him go somewhere else. Maybe they find a place for Vucevic. Hell, trade Kobe White too. I don't need them. I just don't need them. If you want to bring back Patrick Williams, fine, because I'm still just so curious about his development. Like, everything I've heard from like Bulls staff members and everything is that they're just like, he's got all this ability. He just kind of doesn't do it. But they're like, I just haven't been around somebody as talented as that. But anyway, we're getting too deep into things. But yeah, I can't stress enough, like, if you don't understand why Josh Giddey's good, I don't like to hit people with this, but I feel like you just don't quite understand basketball on like as deep of a level, because that's how much this guy like really impacts this. That's why Woj is saying like there's all-star potential here. And yeah, it just wasn't going to be realized in OKC. That's why in the ideal offseason video I did for them, I was like, Giddey just needs to be like moved on. Like, it's very evident that like Shea is so good, right? Shea is already an MVP candidate. He's going to be their guy going forward. And as long as he was there, Giddey wasn't going to get to be who he was going to be. And that's good for OKC because they just got an Alex Caruso out of it, which is a phenomenal player to add to that team. But now Giddey gets to go like be that dude. And again, I'm not telling you guys he's going to be like a 20, 25 point a game scorer, and he's not going to be clamps like right up in front of you like Alex Caruso is. He does all the little things well, like all the little things extremely well. And there's not many minds better than his in basketball. He always knows where to be, like at all times on the court. He sees all the little things that need to happen. And I just think he's in a phenomenal floor general. At only 21 years old, this is an incredible get for the Bulls. So I really like this trade for both sides. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think this will look even better when hopefully the Bulls make some supplementary moves around it. The Thunder, this is just like a great one to add in general, because if you just swap Giddey and Caruso just like right now and you threw them back into the playoffs this year, like the Thunder are just a better team, right? Because it fits their style better, while Giddey might have more potential than like Caruso, right? It's like we're talking about economics here, and we're trying to get the most out of players depending on the situation they're in. And there was nowhere we could put Giddey on that Thunder team to where it was actually going to like use him to his full strength, right? There were times where like we would see him like catch a swing pass or something and instantly just make another pass afterwards that you're like, whoa, how did he even see that guy or something like that, right? And that's kind of like the most that we ever got to see out of it. So I'm very curious to put him into like a Billy Donovan system or something and let him kind of like run the show a little bit, see what happens. Like, who's going to be on the Bulls roster at that point? I don't know. Like I said, I'm hoping this is a preliminary thing that the Bulls are doing to tell the league like, hey, we're moving more people, right? We're moving more people. So call us. Apparently, there's been all sorts of rumors today that Levine is on the move, that they want to move up to get the third pick, to maybe get Klingon. I would love to see Donovan Klingon and Josh Giddey on the same team together. Maybe this is just a Bulls fan pipe dream of mine or something like that, but I just think it makes too much sense to try to go up and get him. I'm not saying Donovan Klingon is going to be the biggest difference maker either, but you'd have two really good pieces in place to where if you could find like a young star eventually around those guys, I think you could have a really, really cool thing, and you're just building a really smart basketball team, if nothing else from that sense, which I think is always a good thing. So I'm very interested in this. I think this is really cool. If we can briefly touch on just like a couple other things, like obviously Monty Williams was let go, and you guys hear me talk about it all the time. There's just certain franchises where like you just don't know what's going on. It's kind of shocking that like Monty Williams was also like blindsided by this. I've seen a lot of Pistons fans be like, yeah, this guy's a shitty coach. This guy's a shitty coach. I've been around Monty Williams. Like, Monty Williams is really, really good at what he does. I don't understand what happened in Detroit. Like, I know he's got personal stuff going on in his life, but it was an uncomfortably bad coaching job for someone that is extremely competent and good at what they do. So I feel like there's just more to the story than that. That's a whole nother thing. JJ Redick becoming the Lakers coach. Yeah, I hope they keep doing the podcast. That's all I keep thinking about. Like, how cool would it be to have a coach and player on the same podcast that are just that smart? I don't know. I can't wait to see like what a JJ Redick coached basketball team is going to look like. Like, I don't know. I don't think we've had like somebody kind of come around like this since like Stan Van Gundy. That's just like such a student of basketball, and he's probably going to approach it from such a scientific method. The difference here though between like JJ and Stan is like JJ's going to be able to probably command the respect of a locker room a lot better. So I don't know. I just think it's odd. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think down in the comments below. You guys know my new comments rule and everything. If it's a bad comment, I'm going to refer you to this part of the video right here, and I'm going to tell you need to rephrase and do better. Thanks so much, y'all.